Mon nom est Marc Ouellette. J'étais de 2010 à 2018 directeur scientifique de l'Institut des maladies infectieuses et immunitaires aux Instituts de recherche en santé du Canada. So how was I implicated in CDTRP? Well, as head of the Institute of Infection and Immunity at CIHR, we have to aim at strategic research, and it was a time for the field of immunity to move along, and we were in Newfoundland, I recall, in 2011 in St. John's to decide about what would be the next area of strategic research in the field of immunity. And there were two competing, at the end, there were two competing areas. One was human immunology, and the other one was transplantation. And one of the lead for transplantation was Anthony Jevnikar, who eventually became the chair of the Institute of the Advisory Board of Infection and Immunity. And he was very eloquent about the need for strategic research in the field of transplant. At the end, the two areas, immunology and transplantation, moved forward, but first with transplant, who was first, and then immunology second, few years later. Then what would be the way, or how would we make this transplant initiative a success? And then it was more within CIHR. We had internal discussion. David Hartel, Judith Bray were the key individual at the time, helping me in thinking of how to move forward. I mean, one strategy would have been to have a small funding opportunity for funding in the field of transplant, but we decided of something unusual at the time, which was the creation of a network to try to bring all people together to move forward. So this has been my vision at the time, is to create a network of individuals that would work in the field of transplant. And we had a meeting to think about how to move in the future. And I think I have to give the credit here to Judith Bray, who was also the Assistant Director of Infection and Immunity and Cancer, and said, Mark, there are similar issues in the field of cancer and in the field of solid organ transplant, and maybe we can try to bring those two communities together. And actually, it has been a success. And then our idea and our vision of a network was to bring those two communities together. And then we realized also that, yes, you have all the immunity side of things, but you also have all the donation part, the health system part of a transplant. And we believe that for a network to have an impact, you had to bring all those different areas and make them to work together. And for this, you needed the fearless leaders with a vision. And I want to acknowledge both Laurie West and Marie-Josée Hébert, who have been able to unite all those great people together to work with one common team, which was for the Canadian National Transplant Network. At one point was called CNTRP. Now I know that the donation part is even more present, and this is absolutely great. So, but to move forward, we need a number of partnerships, and these partnerships were with a number of other institutes. I want to acknowledge the support of, at the time, Jean Rouleau was the scientific director of ICRH, which was heart and lung, if you want, of Phil Sherman, that was nutrition, metabolism, diabetes. This was the kidney. And Steve Robbins, who was the scientific director of cancer. These were the key CIHR institutes that were involved in this initiative. There were many other partners, FRQS, Canadian Blood Services, Estella. So we were really working together to create a network. So this was our vision. It was to bring people together to move forward on the field of transplant. Quelle est la signification pour moi de CDTRP? Donc, we believe that this has been a huge success. It was highlighted many times at the political level that this specific areas of applied immunology, if you want, was really moving forward in the right direction and bringing all the different aspects that are required for a successful, an increased successful network, but also outcomes in the field of transplant. It was so successful that it was unusual at the time, but we said that we have to sustain it in one way or another. And there was a little more modest, but yet a modest possibility for renewal, which is at CIHR for strategic funding, not usual, but that was really because of the success of the network. And basically, this has been reviewed internationally by experts in the field, and all the comments were laudatory in the sense that it really fulfilled a need, it really answered a need in the field of transplant. I think the outcome of this network has been to bring different communities together, to learn how to work together, and also to have outcomes, important outcomes for both the quantity, increasing the quantity of donation, this is one thing, but also the quality of the organ and the long-term positive outcome in the recipients of those organs. And this, I think, this holistic vision of transplant has changed the landscape, I would say, in Canada. And this has been because, again, of the leadership that has been generous in making all those people together. So again, I want to acknowledge the wonderful contribution of everybody in the network, but more specifically, Laurie and Marie-Josée, who have been really working very hard to make this a success. So I hope that we will be able to celebrate another 10 years, so up to 20 and then 25, and then why not 50 years of this transplant network that was started in Newfoundland during a gale that we had, and we were an extra day in Newfoundland to think about this initiative. But I'm very happy to see how it has moved along and how now it's really shaping the field of transplant research and donation in Canada. Donc, longue vie au CNTRP, et on souhaite encore plusieurs années de succès. Et ça a été une grande fierté pour moi d'être impliqué dans cette initiative à ses tout débuts et de voir comment ça a progressé de façon extraordinaire. Merci.